Let's take a look at background checks. Background checks are needed to help prevent negligent hiring. During the selection process, in addition to verification of the information on a candidate's application and their resume, several other types of background checks may or may not be appropriate. It's not unusual for the background check to be a simple pass or fail. Background checks can become rather expensive depending on which checks we do and how often we have to do them, so they're usually left until we have at least narrowed down the list of candidates to a final few, or in most cases, even a final candidate. We may offer employment to the candidate conditioned on passing various background checks. Remember, though, that you cannot use a background check to discriminate in violation of federal or state law. Although several states have recently put limits on its use, one of the most commonly used background check is the credit check. Credit checks are subject to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, known as FCRA, which requires employers to disclose to the applicant that they will use credit reports for employment decisions. The Act also says that if the information on the credit report results in adverse employment action, the employer has to give a copy of the report to the person and inform the applicant of their rights under FCRA, including the right to dispute the report. When can employers complete credit checks on applicants, and why would they do it at all? Credit checks will most likely be done if applicants will have access to any money or if they will work with the company's financial information. Credit checks may also be done with other employees who evaluate their personal responsibility to see if they have a habit of being dishonest in credit transactions. A history of not paying bills tells the organization that the person is likely to be dishonest in other ways as well. Does something like a bankruptcy on your credit report automatically knock you out of contention for a job? No, in fact, by law, the company can't refuse to hire you solely because of a negative issue like a bankruptcy on a credit check. However, again, if your credit report shows a pattern of failure to live up to your credit obligations, the company can and probably will use that information to remove you from the applicant pool, as long as the company's home state allows it. Credit reports also give the employer other reference information that can be used in background checks. All states allow criminal background checks, at least in some cases. However, laws vary so significantly across jurisdictions that it's difficult to enumerate the circumstances in which criminal background checks are allowed. Can or should a criminal record keep someone from being hired? It depends on a few things: the nature and seriousness of the offense, how long ago it occurred, and what type of job the individual is being considered for. Reference checks include not only calls to references that are provided by the applicant, but also reference letters from employers, personal letters of recommendation, and possibly cold calls from previous employers. Finally, with the ability to access very large amounts of information via the internet, virtually all organizations are using the internet to do research on job candidates whenever they're allowed to do so by applicable federal, state, and local laws. Googling a candidate's name is becoming a standard practice. Should social media be used as a selection device? HR departments are going to use the tools that they have available to get the best possible people, so social media will most likely continue to be a tool that's used in the recruiting and selection process. However, we need to be very careful to avoid using information that would be illegal in consideration for employment. Employers will most likely do a web search on you as a candidate in today's business world, and this goes for part-time jobs, summer jobs, and internships, as well as full-time positions. Also, make sure your email addresses and telephone messages are professional for job searching.